It started its life as a mod, became a full game in 6 months. It wasn't supposed to last, thrown together on an already outdated engine. Yet 15 years later, we are still here. So what exactly is Killing Floor? If you've never played it, Killing Floor is a cooperative survival horror FPS. Up to 6 players fight waves of zombie-like specimens, better known as ZEDs, which get increasingly deadly each round. Players earn money by killing ZEDs and surviving. Between rounds you spend cash at a roaming trader to buy weapons, armor and ammo, gearing up for the next brutal fight. All of this culminates in a punishing final boss battle. Sounds pretty simple, right? So why do I keep coming back to it year after year? Well, allow me to break it down. Killing Floor has a very distinct aesthetic. Every map feels like it's covered in a layer of filth. The world is decaying, rusted over, rotting, grimy. It's like 28 Days Later meets the other world from Silent Hill 3. There's this thick, oppressive atmosphere, a constant sense of dread hanging over everything. Killing Floor 1 really presents itself as a horror game, something the sequel never quite captured in the same way. But I do want to make it clear that this isn't meant to be a video bashing KF2 or KF3. It's a celebration of what made KF1 so unique. And for me, that grindhouse horror feel is what sets it apart from other games in the genre. But it's not just the visuals, there's another piece of the puzzle. Its completely unconventional soundtrack. It's music that floods you with adrenaline, and for someone like me who enjoys both neurofunk and metal, it couldn't be more perfect. It's a soundtrack that never gets old, and is instantly recognizable as Killing Floor. Quick heads up, if you're curious about Killing Floor 1, now's a really good time to grab it. It's 86% off right now on today's sponsor Instant Gaming. They've got a huge collection of games, so whether you're into co-op shooters like Killing Floor or just want something new to try, they've got you covered. And if you ever run into problems or have questions, their customer support is available 24/7, which is great. They've got a solid 4.7 out of 5 rating on Trustpilot, and there are tons of payment options, so it's easy to pay however works best for you. If you want to check it out, there's an affiliate link on screen, plus a pinned comment with the link down below. Using that link helps support the channel, so I really appreciate it. Big thanks to Instant Gaming for sponsoring this video. Alright, let's get back to Killing Floor. As iconic as the music is, it's the ZEDs who truly steal the show. Each one is uniquely designed to make your life more difficult. There are 10 in total, including the final boss, and I'll give you a quick overview of the threats each one poses to your team. First up is the Clot. It's the most common enemy type and usually does nothing more than walk straight towards you. On its own, it poses very little threat, but it has a nasty trick. When it reaches you, it can grab and hold you in place. On lower difficulties, you can break free by jumping. On higher ones, you'll need to damage or kill it to escape. It's a simple ability, but one that can disrupt a team fast. Up next is the Bloat. These spawn less frequently, but they appear from the very first wave. The Bloat is a large, slow, lumbering specimen with a short-ranged vomit attack and a medium damage melee strike. The vomit is especially lethal on higher difficulties, particularly if you're not wearing armor. They also have a fairly large health pool, except for their head, which is a major weak point. Following that is the Gorefest, which also spawns as early as wave 1. These guys are real killers. They walk towards you at first, but once they get close, they start to sprint. Each one wields a blade that deals heavy damage, and on higher difficulties it can kill you in just a few swings. They tend to spawn in packs and are deceptively quiet, making them easy to miss until it's too late. Then we have the Crawler. It's another fairly common enemy type that starts spawning during the second wave. It has low health but high speed and usually appears in packs of 2 to 4. Crawlers can also emerge from unique locations like windows and vents. Because they move along the ground, they often slip under gunfire. These guys mostly deal chip damage, but when you're overwhelmed, that can be enough to cause a wipe. Coming up next is the Stalker. These enemies can turn nearly invisible, only a slight shimmer gives them away, along with their breathing and muttering. Unless you're playing as the Commando class, which can reveal them automatically, spotting them is a challenge. When they attack, they briefly drop their invisibility before trying to vanish again. Stalkers serve a similar role to Crawlers. Not very dangerous on their own, but able to sneak up on unsuspecting players and chip away at your health when you're distracted. Now things get serious with the Husk. Less common than the Zeds mentioned so far, Husks begin spawning as early as wave 2. They're the only specimen with a true ranged attack, a fireball projectile launched from their arm. If it hits you, it deals direct damage and applies a burning effect over time, which can quickly chew through your armor. They're especially deadly on higher difficulties. To make matters worse, Husks have a 75% resistance to fire, rendering certain weapons almost useless against them. Shambling onto the scene is the Siren, which spawns as early as wave 3. She has one deadly ability, her Scream. It creates a visible red disturbance field that deals large area of effect damage, ignores armor, destroys explosives and disorients players with screen shake and blur. While the Siren is fairly harmless from a distance, once she gets close, she becomes one of the most dangerous enemies you can face. Now brace yourself for the Scrake. These large Zeds come equipped with a chainsaw and begin spawning from wave 5 onward. They slowly lumber towards your team and pose little threat at first, but once they take enough damage, they go into a rage and charge until either you or they are dead. Skrakes have a huge health pool and deal massive damage when enraged. Smart players only engage them when they're ready to take them down quickly. They're a bit of a noob trap, but actually quite manageable if you stay calm. Now for the big one, the Fleshpound. It's the most powerful non-boss Zed and only starts spawning from wave 7 onward. Equipped with spiked gauntlets that deal heavy damage, it also has an adrenaline pump embedded in its chest. If players deal too much damage too quickly, or if it spends too long out of combat, the Fleshpound will rage, letting out a loud roar as its pump turns red and activates. While enraged, it runs much faster and deals massive damage, almost guaranteed to disrupt the team if not taken down quickly. And last but not least, the Patriarch. He is the final boss of Killing Floor, appearing in the last wave of each game. The Patriarch is the most powerful and heavily armed specimen, equipped with a minigun, a rocket launcher, a cloaking system and 3 single-use healing syringes. He's also the fastest runner in the game, easily outrunning both players and other Zeds. However, he only takes advantage of this speed after being injured, either to retreat and heal or to chase down a specific target in retaliation. The 3 syringes effectively divide the encounter into phases. When he retreats to heal, your team gets a brief moment to regroup, or if you're feeling brave, you can pursue him and try to finish the fight before he recovers. One of the things that makes KF1's combat so engaging is how well its 10 Z types are balanced. Each enemy has a distinct role. Clots will stall you, Gorefasts rush you, Sirens cause disruption, Husks apply pressure from range, and so on. There's a precision to the design, and each set is there to challenge you in a specific way. You never quite know what you're going to face each wave, aside from the guaranteed Scrake and Fleshpound spawns, and that unpredictability makes the game endlessly replayable. Contrast that with something like Call of Duty Zombies, where the enemies are mostly just variations of a regular zombie. It leans into intensity over enemy variety. No shade to COD Zombies though, I love that game mode to death. And I do want to touch on KF2 for a second, because I actually think it started out great during early access. It had the same roster as KF1, but added some nice touches, like the Husk's close-range flamethrower attack. But as the game evolved, the roster grew too large. Robots like the EDARs felt out of place, and new Z variants like Armored Clots felt like unnecessary additions. That tight, focused enemy balance KF1 had got diluted, and the game suffered for it. That said, KF2 does plenty of things better, but that's a discussion for another time. Anyway, whenever I read comments about KF1, it usually gets described as a simple shooter to blow off some steam with your friends. And yeah, that's a solid description, but beneath that simple premise, there's real depth too. Especially when you crank up the difficulty. but some of that depth definitely wasn't intentional by Tripwire. Killing Floor is a little janky, there's no getting around it. Just like the original mod, Killing Floor runs on the Unreal 2.5 engine, which was already outdated by the time the game got its retail release in 2009. That means simple graphics, stiff animations, occasional enemy pathing issues and hitboxes that aren't always as clean as they should be. These are definite flaws, and they were mostly fixed in the sequel. But there's also a certain charm to them. More importantly, it's consistent jank, predictable, learnable. And with enough time, none of it actually gets in the way of enjoying the game. If anything, it becomes something to master, another layer of knowledge to incorporate into how you play. Here's what that looks like in practice. Don't fight on stairs or uneven ground. Hitboxes get messy. Keep an eye out for objects and props. They can make enemy movement erratic. Always check your back or have someone check it for you. Enemies can spawn behind you if you're not looking. It's all stuff you'll find out the hard way, but they're all things you can adapt to. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying these quirks shouldn't have been fixed in Killing Floor 2. And yes, they are definite negatives, but they do contribute to the original's distinct feel. It still has that scrappy mod energy, and I'm all for it. Now that you know what you're up against, it's time to take a closer look at the tools you have at your disposal to fight back. Everyone spawns with a few basics: a knife, a 9mm pistol, 3 grenades, a healing syringe and a welder. Killing Floor is one of those old school games that doesn't have a dedicated sprint button. If you want to move faster, you need to pull out your knife. Personally, I love that. It makes you more vulnerable and makes every movement feel more deliberate. Compared to modern shooters where movement can feel frictionless, Killing Floor's movement has real weight to it. But I get that it's not for everyone. The pistol and grenades are self-explanatory, but the healing syringe is worth talking about. It runs on a refillable charge and heals 20 HP. If you use it on yourself, it takes a full charge, but if you use it on somebody else, it only takes half. That makes healing your teammates twice as efficient, a clever bit of design that encourages cooperation. Then there's the welder. It lets you seal off any usable door in the game and runs on a self-recharging battery. Once a door is welded, most specimens will try to path around it, while a few will still attempt to break it down. You can also unweld the door using alt fire, which can be just as strategic depending on the situation. So those are your baseline tools, the essentials everyone starts with, no matter what. But the real defining feature of Killing Floor is its perk system. There are 7 perks in total, each with its own strengths, weaknesses and role on the team. Some excel at clearing trash, some specialize in taking down big targets, some keep everyone alive. All of them bring something important to the table, and learning how they work, both on paper and in practice, is where the game really starts to shine. Each perk comes with passive bonuses tied to its corresponding weapons. Some perks also have additional unique bonuses, which I'll highlight as we go. Let's break them down. First up is the Commando. Their weapons of choice are assault rifles, versatile, reliable and effective in most situations. Commandos excel at picking off nearly every type of Z except for Scrakes and Flashbounds. But in a pinch, they can still handle those with concentrated fire. Commandos can see enemy health bars and spot cloaked enemies, and they reload all weapons 40% faster. They're not essential to a team, but they're excellent at reducing overall pressure and keeping things manageable. Then we've got the Firebug. Kings of crowd control and pressure relief, Firebugs specialize in incendiary weapons. They're excellent at clearing trash, which means disposing of weaker enemies quickly and efficiently. Their grenades ignite enemies on impact, and they have a high resistance to fire damage. One thing to watch out for, their flames can obscure visibility, and they can cause Scrakes to panic, which can lead to problems if the team isn't ready. Just like the Commando, they're not strictly essential to a team, but when played well, they do their job extremely efficiently. Up next is the Berserker. Berserkers get up close and personal. They mainly use melee weapons, with the exception of the Buzzsaw Bow. They take 40% less damage overall and a massive 80% less from Bloat Bile, making them one of the tankiest perks in the game. Add in their immunity to clot grabs, 30% melee movement speed and the high damage they deal, and you've got a super versatile class, capable of clutching for the team. Great at both kiting and holding choke points. You can't go wrong with a good Berserker. Then we have the Support Specialist, the backbone of any team. Supports use shotguns and are capable of delivering massive bursts of damage in a short amount of time. Their pellets penetrate enemies. They carry more grenades, which deal 50% extra damage, and they can haul 60% more weight. If that wasn't enough, they're also 150% more efficient at welding and unwelding doors. The only real drawback is their limited ammo pool. Otherwise, supports can handle just about any threat that comes their way. The field medic is next. Medics are the team's designated healers. They use medic guns, mostly submachine guns, with an alternate fire mode that shoots healing darts. Their healing syringe and darts recharge twice as fast, and their healing is 75% more effective. Their grenades explode into green clouds that heal teammates while poisoning enemies. Beyond healing, medics have a secondary role, tanking. They enjoy a 75% boost to armor durability, reduced damage from bloat bile, and a 25% movement speed increase. In short, medics are incredibly strong, durable, and versatile. Meet the Sharpshooter, my favorite perk. Precision and speed define this class. It's a pure DPS role, with bonuses to pistols, rifles and crossbows, plus an additional 50% headshot damage boost. Sharpshooters are built to take down Quirks quickly and efficiently, and in the right hands they can even solo fleshpounds. A true glass cannon. They're devastating when played well, but demand accuracy and discipline. And last but certainly not least, the Demolitions Expert. All about explosives and crowd control, demos deal more damage with their explosives, can carry more of them, and get a 55% resistance to their own blasts. Their main job? Dealing with fleshpounds. No other perk handles them as consistently. That said, Demo is probably the hardest class to play well. It's easy to blow yourself up or hit something you didn't mean to. Still, in the hands of a skilled player, the Demo is absolutely vital to a team's success. At this point, you know enough to have a great time with killing Floor. But the game's true beauty lies beneath the surface, waiting for those who invest the time. The tens, the hundreds, the thousands of hours. This is something that doesn't get talked about nearly enough. And if you take away anything from this video, I hope it's this chapter. It's about reaching the ceiling. So, what do I mean by reaching the ceiling? I'm talking about the skill ceiling. And killing Floor has the most satisfying learning curve I've ever experienced in a video game. It's a game that doesn't teach you how to play it. No tutorials, just a few tooltips. Everything you learn by doing, or by watching others. It's trial and error, and early on there will be lots of errors. But eventually things click. You start noticing patterns. Quirks spawn from wave 5. Fleshpounds from wave 7. Wave 10, always a double fleshpound. You learn to finish the last set near the trader, or start with a money-making perk and switch perks mid-match. A lookout voice line, that probably means a fleshpound's coming. Slowly but surely your knowledge builds. Then comes instinct. A husk winds up, you jump. Need to heal someone, hit the syringe, cancel the animation, and you're back in the fight. Running low on ammo, you already know where the crates spawn on each map. You start to get a feel for the fleshpound's rage timer, know when you're getting close to triggering it. You're comfortable on normal and hard difficulty. That means it's time to make our way to hell on earth. That's where things get real. You begin learning advanced techniques, often from other players, or like I did back in the day, from legendary content creators like Sarius Games and Falz. You practice Quirk and fleshpound quick kills, maybe even on separate test maps. You might switch up your strategy entirely, moving from holding a choke point to kiting the map. You understand the Z spawn cap. How, as long as you don't kill enemies, you can slowly stretch and thin the herd. You dig into every perk, their strengths, quirks and synergies. You discover tricks like detonating your own grenades, leaving a single bullet in the mag to switch weapons so you're not locked in a reload animation, enemy flinch mechanics, managing aggro. Eventually, it all becomes second nature. You're not thinking, you're in the zone. Fleshpound raging, weld the door for a single tick, bait the hit and regain control. You will meet players doing things that once seemed impossible. Kiting multiple fleshpounds around the map, weaving in and out of the Patriarch's melee range to lock him in place. I've played for hundreds upon hundreds of hours, and you'd think I'd have mastered the game by now. Yet there's still so much left to learn. So I guess I better get to it then. And that, to me, is what Killing Floor is all about. It's not about cosmetics, unlocks or flashy ultimates. It's about mastery, shared knowledge, skills passed down between strangers in servers that have lasted for over 15 years. That's what I want people to remember. Not just the atmosphere, brilliant soundtrack or British humor, which I haven't even touched on, but the unexpected depth. I don't think even Tripwire knew exactly what they had given the players, but the community turned it into something greater, something timeless. That's what I mean with the ceiling, and it's higher than you think. If you've made it this far, seriously, thank you for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure to show you one of my favorite games of all time, and I hope this helped explain why some people will defend the first KF forever. If you enjoyed the video and felt it was worth your time, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. Huge shout out to Knolworks on YouTube for letting me use some of his Z footage. Check him out in the description. And to my Patreons, your support keeps this channel going and lets me dive deep into the games I love. Thank you. If you'd like to join them, there's a link down below as well. And that's all for now. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace!